You spent $127,000 last decade and have nothing to show for it. No car, no vacation memories, no emergency fund. Just gone. And here's the terrifying part. You have no idea where it went. Welcome back to Forgotten Finance, where lost money lessons come back to life. I'm your host, and today we're exhuming a financial truth that's been buried under decades of treat-yourself culture and you-deserve-it marketing. This is about the invisible wealth killer that's been draining your future dry, $5 at a time. Let me paint you a picture. It's 2015. Sarah just got her first real job, making $45,000 a year. Not rich, but comfortable. Every morning, she stops at Starbucks. It's her ritual, her moment of peace before the chaos begins. $6.50. That's nothing, right? It's just coffee. Lunch? She orders in with coworkers. Bonding time. $15 here, $18 there. Evenings, she's tired from work, so DoorDash it is. Another $25. Weekends mean brunch, drinks, that new candle from Target she didn't plan to buy, but it smelled like vanilla and nostalgia. Fast forward to 2025. Sarah looks at her bank account and asks the question that haunts millions. Where did it all go? Here's the money lesson that got buried. Small leaks sink great ships. This wisdom dates back centuries, but somewhere between credit cards and one-click purchasing, we forgot it completely. The ancients understood something we don't anymore. They called it death by 1,000 cuts. In finance, we had a term for it too, the Latte Factor. Coined by financial author David Bach, it described how small, recurring expenses quietly devastate long-term wealth. But this lesson didn't just get forgotten, it got actively buried by a culture that romanticizes daily indulgences as self-care. Let's resurrect the truth with numbers that'll make your stomach drop. Sarah's daily coffee. $6.50 times 365 days equals $2,372 per year. Her lunch habit. $15 times 5 days times 52 weeks equals $3,900 per year. Dinner delivery 3 times a week. $25 times 3 times 52 equals $3,900 per year. Random small purchases, subscriptions, impulse buys, conservatively, another $2,500 per year. Total annual small spending, $12,672. Over 10 years, that's $126,720. But here's where it gets painful. If Sarah had invested that money instead, at a modest 8% average return, she'd have over $195,000 today. In 30 years, that number becomes $1.5 million. That's not a vacation home. That's not a luxury car. That's retirement. That's freedom. That's the difference between working until you're 70 and retiring at 55. Now, let me show you a different story. Meet Marcus. He's Sarah's coworker. Same salary, same starting point. But Marcus made one tiny change. He started making coffee at home 5 days a week, meal prepped on Sundays, and automated $90 a week into an index fund. 10 years later, Marcus has $62,000 invested, not from a promotion, not from a side hustle, from saying no to convenient coffee and yes to intentional living. Same job, same salary, 2 completely different financial futures. So, why do we do this? Why do smart people bleed wealth through 1,000 tiny wounds? Because our brains are terrible at calculating cumulative damage. We're wired for immediate gratification. $6 doesn't feel like a financial decision. It feels like nothing. And that's exactly the problem. There's a reason casinos use chips instead of cash. Psychological distance. That $6.50 coffee doesn't register as 2 hours of work after taxes. It doesn't compute as $2,400 a year. It's just coffee, just lunch, just a little treat. Marketing companies know this. They've weaponized it. It's only $9.99 a month. You deserve this. Life's too short not to enjoy the little things. They've rebranded financial negligence as self-love. And then there are the subscriptions. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, that gym you haven't visited in 6 months, the meditation app you used twice. Individually, harmless. Collectively, that's another $2,000 to $3,000 a year disappearing into the void. Here's how you bring this buried lesson back to life. The 48-hour rule. Before any non-essential purchase under $50, wait 48 hours. If you still want it, buy it. Most of the time, you'll forget about it entirely.
The visibility exercise. For 1 month, write down every purchase under $20. Don't change your behavior, just observe. Awareness precedes change. The automation principle. Set up automatic transfers to savings the day you get paid. Pay your future self first. What you don't see, you won't spend. Start with just 10% of your income. The substitution strategy. Find free or cheap alternatives. Make coffee at home 4 days a week. Keep 1 day for the coffee shop. Meal prep Sunday evenings. The goal isn't deprivation. It's intentionality. The subscription audit. Right now, this week, list every single subscription you have. Cancel anything you haven't used in the last 30 days. You can always resubscribe if you actually miss it. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But life is short. I don't want to deprive myself of small joys. And you're right. This isn't about deprivation. This is about consciousness. The question isn't, should I ever buy coffee? The question is, am I choosing this? Or is this just happening to me? There's a massive difference between intentionally deciding to spend money on something you value and unconsciously hemorrhaging cash on things you barely notice. Here's the real secret that got forgotten. True wealth isn't about how much you earn. It's about the gap between what you earn and what you spend. You can make $200,000 a year and be broke if you spend $210,000. You can make $50,000 and be wealthy if you spend $35,000 and invest the rest. The forgotten truth is this: wealth isn't built by massive windfalls. It's built by 1,000 small decisions repeated over decades. Every dollar you don't spend mindlessly is a dollar that can multiply silently in the background, working for you while you sleep. Your future self is watching you right now through the telescope of time. They're seeing whether you'll hand them freedom or financial anxiety, whether you'll give them options or obligations. The small daily spending that's ruining your wealth, it's not just about money. It's about what that money represents. Time, freedom, choices. Every unnecessary $5 purchase is a future hour of your life you're trading away. Benjamin Franklin said, "Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship." That was in 1758. 267 years later, we're still ignoring the same wisdom. Sarah is still ordering DoorDash, still wondering where her money goes. Marcus is planning a sabbatical next year, fully funded by a decade of small, intentional choices. Same starting point, different awareness, different future. The lesson was forgotten, but now it's resurrected. The question is,
Will you bury it again? Or will you let it change your life? This is Forgotten Finance, where lost money lessons come back to life. Subscribe if you're ready to stop letting your wealth disappear into thin air. Hit that notification bell because we're digging up another buried money truth. See you in the next one.